Hi, Mark Newland here. Welcome to cancerbravehearts.com. Hey, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the book that I wrote. I actually wrote this when I was going through breast cancer, which was about 5 years ago. And I wrote it on my iPhone because I really couldn't do much else because of all the chemotherapy and radiation that I received when I was just a teenager. When I was going through leukemia and ultimately a bone marrow transplant, which was actually 32 years ago now, which makes me one of the longest surviving bone marrow transplant patients on the planet. And because of all that chemotherapy and radiation I had when I was just a teenager, just 19, and I then went through breast cancer again, as I say, more recently, about 5 years ago. I actually, because of the cumulative effect of the radiation, all the chemotherapy, it really rendered me pretty useless. So I was kind of resigned to just lying on the sofa and unable to do much. And one of the things that I learned going through the process of the bone marrow transplant, which was a very long, drawn out and very painful process, was that I wanted to never waste time in my life. So even though I was sick and going through the breast cancer with potentially devastating effects on the outcome for my life, I didn't want to waste that time. So I decided to write my book. Even though it was very difficult, I still managed to do it just using my iPhone and just typing with one finger. So the reason I wrote that book was something that I wanted to share with you in this video. Now, because it was potentially going to be the end of my life, it wasn't something I was upset about, but I did feel that it would be a good idea to put pen to paper, as it were, or finger to iPhone as it actually was. And I wanted to be able to leave something for my children and for my mum, who's still with us, just as an account of what I experienced. Now, what was very interesting was when I started to write the book, all these memories that I had held within me started to come back, and I didn't even know where to start the book. And I just thought, well, let's just start writing and see where it goes. And I would write every day for approximately 10-15 minutes, and then sometimes that 10-15 minutes would become an hour, 2 hours, just depending on how I felt motivated. So what I started with was, I just thought, hey, let's just go back to the beginning, and I talk about my very difficult relationship throughout my childhood with my father and how difficult that was, and the mental torture and warfare that I went through with him. And then my father being diagnosed with cancer and being reconciled with him shortly before he died, and watching him go through a horrific death with cancer. And then 3 months later, I was fighting for my life too. So I didn't really get much of a childhood, and then I was forced to fight this illness. And one of the things that I really grasped and learned was that I didn't feel ready to die. And I actually made a promise to God and myself that if I survived, I would never, ever take 1 second for granted, and that I would really try and utilize every aspect of my life. So I was even doing that going through cancer for the second out of 3 times that I've been through it, and writing the book as an account of what had happened to me. So when I started writing, it was incredible how all the images came back into my life and all the memories came flooding back, and how it seemed like yesterday. And even though it was almost, 28, 29 years prior to going through breast cancer, it seemed like yesterday. And one of the things occurred to me was that if you're out there and you have been diagnosed with cancer, or you've recently gone through cancer, or maybe you've been through cancer some years ago, one thing I would suggest to you is this. No matter how long ago it was, if I ask you, does it feel like yesterday? Your answer is going to be absolutely yes. I know that. And what I've realized is that when you get that cancer diagnosis, no matter who you are, your life has changed. There's no going back. cancer stays with you forever. Yes, you may recover. Yes, you may be like me and be cancer-free for a long period of time and then have to go through it again or whatever. It doesn't really matter. You have your life changed the minute you hear that word, and it never changes. The cancer aspect, whether sometimes even it's a loved one, you never forget it. It seems like yesterday. And so we are always dealing with cancer. Even though we are in remission or we're cured or we're cancer-free, whatever you want to call it, you're living with cancer for the rest of your life. I want to help you deal with that because it has tremendous psychological effects on you. And sometimes we never get over that. Sometimes we're always living with that. Sometimes we're living in fear. Sometimes we're worried about what might happen in the future. I can help you with that. And if you decide to take a moment to read my book, you'll find this a great source of inspiration. It's not the world's biggest book. It's not War and Peace. You can easily read it. I'm told it takes about 3 hours. Be inspired. Understand what it takes to survive through cancer. And I'm not talking about whether you live or not. Surviving cancer includes living because you still have to lead your life. And one of the things that I have seen many times on things like Facebook or other social media platforms, and it actually drives me crazy. And people like it because they think cancer patients are sensitive and we need guidance and we need help. And the statement is, while you're thinking about your new car, your new house, your latest this, your latest that, getting a new watch, spare a thought for a cancer patient because all they want to do is survive. Now that drives me crazy because the reason we want to survive is so that we can live and get a new house, get a new car, get the things that we dream of. That's what living is about. Cancer is a road bump and we got to get over it. And the thing that is incredibly amazing about getting cancer, and I always say at the start of my seminars, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I truly, truly mean that. It's because it makes me value everything I have, appreciate what I have, helps me make decisions that are tough. And if you read Cancer Bravehearts, the book, hopefully you will get some of that inspiration. Maybe you can even come to one of our seminars. We do one-to-one meetings that you can actually come and meet me and I will help guide you with the lessons that I've learned. I'm not the world's leading expert on how to get through cancer. I've just experienced it a lot and I've learned a lot from that, and I believe that I can help you. I've helped many other people. People have told us what a difference it makes in their life. We want to make a difference in yours. Go online, cancerbravehearts.com, order our book. It's very inexpensive. It's only $20 and we'll ship it straight out to you. I'll even sign it for you if you ask me to sign it to a specific person. And then start the journey with us and we'll hold your hand throughout the whole process and help you in every possible way we can. Hey, it's been great to connect with you, and if you have any questions, please do contact us. cancerbravehearts1@yahoo.com. I will answer your emails personally. Go online, check out what's going on, buy our book, and start allowing us to help you in your journey. We will be there for you and answer all your questions and try and help you through this journey and the psychological warfare that you've either experienced or are about to go through. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I hope we can help you, and I hope we will be able to connect through one of our platforms. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye. Mark Newland here from Cancer Bravehearts. It's been great talking to you. Thank you very much.